Hi. So one of my viewers asked if I would do a video on how I experienced adoption into adulthood and how I've come to the place that I am right now. And I guess I'll start with right now. I feel really good about my adoption. Of course, there's still times of pain or feelings of loss, but I don't think that's going to go anywhere. It just depends on how I decide to think about it, how I process it. So, as a child, I didn't really think about it too much. I know I was different from my family, but I also knew I was adopted. It wasn't a secret or anything. I did as much as I could to be loving and accepting with my adoptive parents, and so I really kind of felt like I was pulling my end of the bargain with the whole situation. I mean, every child knows it's not the ideal. Nobody plans on, going through pregnancy and then giving up their child. So yeah, for me, my childhood was pretty good. I made lots of adult connections, and I was generally a very wanted child. I felt wanted. And then as I grew into adolescence, more the teenager years, I was starting to differentiate, which is normal in human development. And that was, the period of time where my body was changing, and I really started to think about, well, what does it mean for me to be Korean, And so during that period of time, I was curious about my roots. That was about the time when the internet came around, and so I kind of sought out other adoptees on the internet through adoptee forums. It was nothing, suspicious, like, oh, my parents are horrible, just like, comparing how everybody else's experiences are. My English. So yeah, there was nothing about it that I was thinking about separating from my adoptive parents just because I was figuring out who I was. Not to say that that's the same way that every adoptee feels, but I'm just speaking to myself. I taught myself most of the Korean that I know in high school. I was a very motivated self-learner. I tried as hard as I could to keep a good relationship with my family, but my parents did the best they could. They had a certain skill set, and they had their own history, and so it all intersected in kind of a tense relationship. In that moment, I felt like, ooh, maybe they're rejecting me now. And I made a reference to this in an earlier video, but it seemed like every social rejection really kind of triggered that feeling of loss.